It was just a game of cards, the kind prisoners often play to pass time behind bars. But in 2007, at a Lake City prison in North Florida, inmates were playing with a very special marked deck.
These cards can get them to talking about these different cases. Oh yeah, and the guy on the Queen of Hearts, and just talking about these cases.
Derek Hamilton was behind bars in 2007 for possession of cocaine. He drew his hand and saw a familiar face staring back at him from beyond the grave. The face of Jim Foote, a man he'd murdered outside of a Fort Myers karaoke bar 3 years earlier.
He was gunned down in the parking lot and murdered. There was very little information that had come forward.
Jim's widow, Donna Foote, had to mourn the loss and suffer as the case went cold.
Prisoners don't have a lot to do. They play cards. They like to brag. They started this cold case deck of cards, and they put Jim in.
The first edition of Crime Stoppers Cold Case Cards was about to pay off big time. After seeing Foote's face on a 7 of clubs, Hamilton bragged to other inmates that he was Foote's killer. One of the inmates sold him out.
Out of nowhere, law enforcement ended up getting a letter from an inmate from the prison in Lake County who was playing with that very first deck of cold case cards and said, "Hey, my former cellmate was talking to me about the Jim Foote case. He told me that he had killed the guy."
The phone rang and I answered it. And she said, "I just wanted to let you know that we arrested the person that murdered your husband."
Hamilton never contested the murder charges. His conviction made possible all because of a deck of cards. Now the program is taking off. Correctional facilities from Minnesota to Indiana and Connecticut have adopted the program. More than 75 prisons and correctional facilities have an edition of the Crime Stoppers cards.
It can never work too well. We need the information. Law enforcement need the information. We're just the go-between.
Lori Massey is the coordinator at Mississippi Coast Crime Stoppers. She watched the success in Florida and implemented the program in 7 Mississippi counties in April. Thousands of decks later, she tells us tips are pouring in. One of her wardens, Evan Hubbard, says the cards are an opportunity for prisoners to atone for their past wrongs.
You have people that just made a bad decision, but their moral compass is very well aligned. And if they have information, in this situation, you have a lot of time to think about your transgressions.
But it's not all good news. Hubbard admits inmates could be motivated to snitch for selfish reasons, like landing a sweetheart deal from prosecutors. Groups like the Innocence Project say that could lead to wrongful convictions. That's what happened in the case of Donald Raynor in Connecticut, whose recently overturned conviction was originally achieved thanks to jailhouse testimony tied to a deck of cards.
You have some inmates that try to use it for their own gain. They tell you that they have information and they want X, Y, and Z to give you that information, and that's not what it's for.
Those risks notwithstanding, victims' families say the benefit of potentially clearing cold cases makes this program a bet worth making.
Whenever we have the opportunity to push the cards or tell people to continue to fight to try to get some answers to a violent crime, my daughter and I are right there trying to do it.